Good evening, everyone. My name is Nakha Suad, and today I'll be doing my seminar topic on bomb diffusal robots, their working, and their military application. My USN is 4MS-TH048. I'm from the batch 30, and I'm presenting my presentation under the guidance of Dr. Deepawar. So the contents of my seminar will be introduction, the literature survey that I've done, the bomb diffusal robots, introduction to that and the types, the methodology and the working, the real-time case studies, application, disadvantages, advantages, the conclusion and the future work scope, and the references. So let's begin. Introduction to bomb diffusal robots. What is this bomb diffusal robots? So let's start from the very beginning. When and who? When and who started this? When was it first invented? It was first invented by the British Army in 1972, which was an idea which was incorporated by both Wilson Patrick's Pickstick and Peter Miller's wheelbarrow. Peter Miller was one day he was going to buy a wheelbarrow, and then he got an idea that why not incorporate both of the pickstick and the wheelbarrow. The pickstick is nothing but it is a water jet disruptor which was used back in the days in 1970s to defuse the bombs. So he got the idea to incorporate both of them, and thus we had the bomb diffusal robots, which was first invented in 1972. Then the second thing. What is a bomb? A bomb is usually a weapon. It's explosive. It contains explosive materials, and because of the exothermic energy and the reaction that it causes huge amount of violence and sudden jolt of energy. So these bombs are very destructive and violent. Next, coming to what are robots. Robots, as we all know, they are automated machines that can execute specific tasks with little or no human intervention. Then EOD. You must be thinking, what is EOD? EOD is explosive ordnance disposal. It is a job where the person he helps in disposing the bombs. It is his job for examining, removing the explosive devices, which is in the state of that it is not yet exploded. So it's his responsibility to carry out safely. EOD is the job. Then we finally have the bomb diffusal robots. Bomb diffusal robots are nothing but the combination of the robot, whereas the intelligence of the EOD expert. It is a combination of both of them. Then coming on to the literature survey that I have done. Oh, and this picture is back from the 1972 when they were first trying out their experiment for incorporating the pickstick and the wheelbarrow together. It was back then. It was first examined because of all of the IRA bombings that were happening back then. That is the Irish Republican Army. They would place bombs everywhere. So this was one of the experiments that was going on. And so yes, that's the image for that. Next, we have the literature survey that I have done. My 4 base papers are so and so. From the first 2 base papers, they are explaining about the rocker boogie mechanism. That is a type of bomb diffusal robots, how it works, and the designing details of all of that. In the first 2 papers, they have mainly explained on the basis of Bluetooth. Like the communication is based on Bluetooth. Whereas in the 3rd and the 4th papers, they have explained a lot about other than Bluetooth, what are the other options for the bomb diffusal robots for having higher efficiency and precision. We can make use of wireless technology, that is the Wi-Fi that we use nowadays. So yeah, the 3rd and the 4th paper are regarding that. So beginning with the types of the diffusal robots. There are mainly 2 types of diffusal robots. One is the tracked and the wheel robots. They differ in their design. The first one is tracked. As you can see from the images, they move with the help of the tracks. They are not particularly wheels, but they are like tracks. These tracks can be made up of metal chains or they could be made up of rubber. Although if they're made up of rubber, they do not have long lifespan and they cannot be used for like harder missions and all of that. So those are one type. And the second type is the wheeled robots. These wheeled robots have used wheels for their locomotion, and the number of wheels may differ from 2 wheels, 3 wheels, 4 wheels, 6 to 8 wheels, so multiple number of wheels. So each design has their own specific features. We are going to look ahead like the different cases of what all we have. Moving on to the next. Oh, and these are the type of chains that will be there. Usually the one where we are seeing the three, the climbing one, they are incorporated in a type of robot where they'll be helped to climb the stairs and to have higher precision while traveling higher grounds and all of that. Then the Packbot is nothing but it's usually a robot that can be acting like a backpack. We can roll it up and we can transport it anywhere. So that's one of the types. Then we have the methodology and the working. First of all, in the methodology, let us take the small circle as the ideal state. Then when the expert inputs the input, oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, so the expert, he inputs the input like the bomb diffuser expert, that is the EOD expert, will be given a laptop or a phone or an Android mobile or anything like that. When he enters a particular input, like to own the robot, and he sends the data through the device, then that data is being converted into digital signals. Those digital signals are therefore transferred by a wireless link. This wireless link can also be replaced by a Bluetooth connection. Then the data is transmitted to the robot and the data is received by the robot as per the instructions that are received. Let it be like for inspecting or for owning the LED lights, as simple as that, or detecting the metal. It could be anything. So such functions are being performed. Basically, in the papers that I have referred, he has taken the example of a 6-wheeled wireless robot diffuser rover. So I'm going to be explaining a bit of how he has explained in the paper, and implementing that on the recent technologies. I'm going to be explaining how our technology has advanced so long that we recently we do not have I can say that these are kind of outdated, but these are the base for every bomb diffuser robot to work. They all work in the same way, but they have a different kind of designs. Each of them are unique. So first of all are the rover design. The rover design, as said before, it could be a chained, tracked, or a wheeled rover. Then the arm design. The arm design, it may vary like 4 DOF, 4 degree of freedom, 6 degree of freedom, 8 degree of freedom. But as we can see here, it has only 4 degrees of freedom. That is S1, S2, S3, and S4. These are all nothing but the replication of the human hand. That is the shoulder, elbow, wrist, and the hand. Each joint is powered by a servo motor, which we will be seeing in the next slide. So basically, the arm design is general for all of the robots. They may differ in like the 360 angle rotation or an entire rotation, up and down rotation. They all differ in one way or the other. In the end effector, as we can see, the end effector may be any device that can be attached to the hook. Like example, could be a torch, LED, or a knife, or anything. It could be a 2-clamped clip or anything. Then the controller circuit will be looking into the types of that, whatever is there. So these are the 2 block diagrams. The first block diagram is for the control system of the rover, and the second is for the control system of the robotic arm. Basically, the robot has 2 parts. It has the rover and the robotic arm. Both of them have to be configured according to their specifications, I can say. Rover and robotic arm. In the rover, we can see that we have a battery which is attached to the motor driver. Then this motor driver is connected to the motors. Here, as we can see, we have 6 motors. Why is that? So we have 6 motors because here we are taking the example of the 6-wheeled motor rover. That is a rocker bogie that is taken as an example over here. Taking the example of that, I'm just giving a brief explanation about this. So the motor rover, the motor driver is then connected to the Arduino Uno. This Arduino Uno, it helps in programming for keeping the programming easy and understandable for everyone. It's a microcontroller. It is a power driver module for driving like the Arduino Uno. It helps in programming all of the other devices. It helps in controlling each of the every component as per the needs. Like example, we want to on the LED light. We can just program it to say on the light or off the light. So all of that programming will be done by using the Arduino Uno. Here we can see the HC05. The HC05 is the Bluetooth module. As said before in this paper, hello, sir.
Yes. Continue.
Okay, sir. Sir, next here we can see that HC05. As discussed before, HC05 is a Bluetooth module. This particular block diagram is for a Bluetooth controlled rover. So HC05 is basically for the Bluetooth module for connecting the rover device to the controller, that is with the expert, to connect them. But the range when we use the Bluetooth will be quite less. It will be particular meters. So the end will be the Android phone. The Android phone, it will have a application. It could be anything. The Android phone, the end application where the expert is handling it could be a touch screen pad, or it could be an Android phone, or it could be a laptop, anything, but it will be connected by Bluetooth. As I said, this is not so efficient. Instead of this, we could have a Wi-Fi module instead of the Bluetooth module. Then we have the robotic arm over here. The servo motor drivers are all connected to the servos. The servos are the motor that rotate with high precision. Then we can go with the battery. The batteries over here will be a 12-volt battery. But that will not be helping us to get a longer lifespan, like a power supply. Imagine we are diffusing a bomb and there's no battery. Then there's gonna be a problem, a huge problem. So for advanced purposes, the battery that we use is gonna be very important and crucial. In this battery, we can use a lithium-ion technology. That is, a lithium-ion battery which will be giving us higher life power supply. So moving on to the general block diagram of the various components, which I have put out by collecting various papers and everything. Basically, all of the robots will have this feature. First one will be Arduino Uno microcontroller. We have the wireless camera. The wireless camera. Here I'm taking the example of a wireless camera because nowadays we have wireless camera, connected cameras, everything. So wireless cameras are going to be having an antenna attached to them. Then we have the power supply battery. If it is a newer technology and if it's a larger project rover, then we'll be using a lithium-ion technology. Then the Wi-Fi module. The Wi-Fi module here is the internet technology that we'll be using. Instead of a Bluetooth module, we'll be using a Wi-Fi module, which will allow us to have a further range of maybe 500 meters or maybe a few more feet away than the actual scene that is going on. Then the Arduino Uno has the capability to control the various metal detectors, various sensors like temperature, humidity, the gas. It is also used in radioactive situations. So it could be used to detect the radioactive elements that are present in the surroundings, therefore giving less harm to the person not being in the facility around the radioactive material. So the robot can do all the stuff for us. Then we have the robotic arm, which is also controlled by the Arduino Uno. Then we have the motor driver for controlling the robot motors. Here we have given a buzzer. Whenever a robot is going through, especially in the line, in the case of landmine, whenever it's detecting a metallic thing, it's gonna buzz and it's gonna say that metal is here. But in case a human being was there, then it would be a different scenario. So then we have the expert control device. That is the expert control, that is the EOD expert who is sitting far away at a safe distance, who is operating the robot by using his laptop or any other system that is using. Basically, here we will be observing a ZigBee technology where it will have the transmission and the receiver technology. Receiving is done by the ZigBee technology. It gives a command for the arm movements and everything, the ZigBee module. It could, the RF and we can see the RF receiver and the transmitter. From the RF transmitter, the data and the commands will be transmitted, and the rover collects all of them at the RF receiver using the antenna. So basically, all of this will be done by using the Wi-Fi module, using the IP address and the port number. It establishes the network connection between the hardware and the PC. Next, moving on, we have the real-time case study. The real-time case study, I have taken up 4 of them, the most popular of the ones that we are currently using. The first one would be the DRDO Dash. This is the one that I am proud to say is from India. It has been, it was being invented in India by the Indian Defense Research and Development Organization in Pune. So this was the one that is being currently used in our country. It is electronically powered remote control vehicle. It can safely locate, handle, destroy all the hazardous objects. It is used in the army, police, etc. It has a range of about 500 meters. As we can see from the image, it is quite big, and it has a wheel type of robot. So it has the clamp type of arm. It also has 4 cameras that is attached to it. It is also having a water jet disruptor to diffuse. It is the old technique where a water jet diffuser is put on the bombs in order to diffuse them. So it also has that technique, the old technique that is being also installed in here. Then we had the first batch of this was manufactured and sent out in 2011. It can be controlled with a range of 500 meters. The arm is able to carry up to 20 kgs of weight. It can climb stairs and it can go to steep slopes. It has multiple cameras. It also has shotguns. It can monitor the contaminated level in the surroundings. That is, it is also having the PGC, portable gas chromatograph. That is, in radioactive surroundings, it can also be used. It has touchscreen, joystick, run and control are used. So this is the first one. And then we have the second one. Would you believe me if I told you that this is the real robot, the yellow one, the second one? You wouldn't believe that this is a real robot that is being manufactured, and this is the newest technology that is being used currently. As you can see, it's not a cartoon, it's not an animation, it's a real life robot. I'm gonna show you. This robot is called as the Taurus. It is the Taurus manipulator. It is a small robot which is having the capability to go high. It's solving impossible challenges. It's able to do all of it. As you can see, it is a wireless. It also has wireless communication. It has the PCU, power control unit. All of it is being there. This is a recent technology where as you can see, the head of the robot is a manipulator. That is, it is attachable and detachable. It has VR glasses that will be controlled by an expert. from a far distance, or it could be even from the satellite. He could be out of space and he can still control this robot. So this robot is very powerful, and it is the most recent one that is being trending right now. It uses the gone are the days where the 3D monitors are going to be projecting the virtual environment, but here we will be using the VR headset, especially the Oculus Rift. It allows the user to rotate the 360 angles. It also has the hand controllers where we can see the two arms. You are thinking that we must be thinking that these two arms are not going to be precise, but let me tell you that these it has such a precision that these robots can also be used for performing surgical operations. It can also be used in the medical field. It has such precision. It has a number of tools in them. It has measurement tools such as voltage and current mechanism measurements. Then it has power tools like screwdrivers, drills, hot knife cutters. Then it has the passive tools like suction caps, wire probes, and all of the cameras and everything. One of the hand is detachable where it can attach all of the tools. So this is one of the recent and the most latest technologies that has been going on. It has a long battery life as it is using lithium ion technology. Then we have the iRobot 510. iRobot 510, in the beginning we saw that PackBot. A PackBot is a small compact robot which can be taken on the backpack, and it can be traveled anywhere. It's such small size, we can travel with it like a backpack. At the same time, it is the most amazing kind of technology that is being used here, that we can perform CBR and detection, that is the chemical, biological, radioactive, nuclear detection. It can also climb the stairs. As we are seeing, there is a front. I'm going to show another image. We are seeing that the front edges are long. By using those, the robots are going to be climbing the stairs, and they are having really high speed. Since they are small, they have about a speed of 9.3 kilometers per hour. Then we have the Mark 5 A1. This is another top type bomb diffusing robot that is manufactured by the American government, and it is the massive 800 pounds, 8 feet robot, which has, because of its size, it has less speed of 3.5 meters per hour. And it is equipped with cameras. It has many cameras, and let me just say the cost is also very big. It has taken it costs about $150,000. It is driven via a human robot remote control, and as you can see, it has the cameras which gives us much more zoom than any of the others. As you can see, the height of this is massive. It is 8 feet, maybe taller than me. Then we have the applications. The main applications of bomb diffusal robots are explosive ordnance diffusal. It is used to detect the areas, providing safety and security from the risk for the EOD. Hats off to all of the soldiers who put their lives on line without any protection, just with the we all seen movies that bomb diffusal robot experts, they go in suits and everything. That is the first option that the soldiers are given. They have to face fire to fire. That is their first option. And the second option is the remote control unit. These remote control units are helpful in detecting, in identifying, inspecting, and also diffusing the unexploded bombs. Then in remote inspection, suppose we have a scenario where a bomb is planted in a sewage. It has very narrow length where human cannot go. So at that particular time, these kinds of robots, they vary in every shape and size. So in remote inspection also, it will be useful. Let us imagine a scenario where there is a terrorist group. and they do not know what are their plans and what they are building inside the building. So at that time, we can send a small diffusal robot, which is not visible and which is having high precision, and they can secretly get the video footage, which is a live streaming or maybe recorded, and we can make use of that for surveillance and for survey purposes. Then we have the landmines. That is the first image shown at the left. The landmines are impossible to detect if they are buried underground. But by using the robots, these robots can detect them. They have the metal detector technology in them, so they can detect and they can safely remove it and disarm it. But in case if unfortunate situations, if the person is expert is there and he steps on that, or a vehicle or a tank steps on that, then it will be an unfortunate event. It's also mainly used in the police and the fire departments also. Then also it's used in the CBRN detection, chemical, biohazard, radiation, and the nuclear applications for all of this detection. Then we have the advantages and the disadvantages. I think I don't have to tell anything for this. It's clearly being seen that it is by far the best thing that has been ever invented, which can save multiple lives, even the lives of the soldiers who are sacrificing their lives for us. So it has higher user control and VR. As we just saw from the example of the Taurus, nowadays we have the technology of VR and machine learning, AI and everything. So user control and user interface is much more easier and safer with higher security. We have advanced power supply. As I said, lithium-ion batteries, they have more power supply, and they can run up to hours, 5 to 10 hours, and they even have backup storage, like backup batteries for them that they can interchange. Then investigating and suspecting the devices. In case of landmines, and if a person does not want to go to a place where he is not able to go or won't go, in that situation, the person can send in a robot and he is able to investigate, and he's even able to defuse the bomb safely. You might be wondering, after all of the bombs and all are diffused, what happens to it? After it is diffused, it is safe to take it back, and a safe carrying vehicle is being provided. Then we have dexterity and mobility. That is, it is faster. It may vary from size to size. The variation of the speed will be differing for that, and different shapes and sizes. Different shapes and sizes. There are many types of the bomb diffusal robots. I just mentioned 4 of them whom I did a survey on, but there are many robots with many other advantages. The disadvantages. The main disadvantages of this would be cost. The main is the cost. It takes thousands and thousands of dollars to build a bomb diffusal robot. The iRobot company, which manufactures the iRobot 520 Packbot, it made about it gets about 7.3 billion orders, rupees. Orders are placed from all over the world. So the cost of it is more, and whereas the maintenance, we can see the maintenance of a few of the bots would be very difficult, because few of them would not be weather resistant, and they wouldn't be having nice wheels, like the rubber wheels and all of that. Higher maintenance and regular maintenance would be required. Limitations. There are situations where the machines cannot be relied on. Suppose the situation arises where the person is not responsible for a situation, but it was a mechanical thing. In those mechanical defects, in those situations, precise calculations and making is required. So limitations are always there. We only have to strive through them. So my conclusion and scope for future work. Bomb diffusal robots can save lives, that is for sure, and it makes tasks easier. As we can say that nowadays we have a lot of technology advancements, AI, ML, and IoT technologies, wireless technologies. We are able to incorporate each and everything in in the bomb diffusal robots, especially the field of robotics, is advancing fast and has a pace study. So we can say that there are chances that we're going to be seeing a lot of more advancements and variants of bomb diffusal robots having revolutionary changes in the future. These are the references that I have done. So I have also gone through a lot of videos and articles because finding information regarding such classified information was quite difficult. So I've gone through a lot of it. These are a few of them. So yes, that's my presentation. Thank you. Any questions, anyone?
Yes, this session is open for questions. Kindly ask the questions.
That was a very good presentation, and the slides
Thank you.
were all, done with the utmost care. One
Thank you.
question is, this happens to be an example of our how do you
Hello?
take care of misrate? How do you take care of misrate in your case?
I'm so sorry, ma'am. Your voice I wasn't able to hear. Network problem. Can you please
Okay.
repeat, ma'am?
Okay, this happens to be an example of our real-time system, right, Nakia?
RDA? I didn't get you, ma'am.
ARD real-time, real embedded system. This is an example of our real embedded system.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you take care of misrates?
Misrate, ma'am.
Yeah. What if your robot fails to operate in time?
In
That
time.
is going to cause a disaster, right? So
Yes, ma'am.
how is it taken care of? Because accuracy has to be 100%. And if you have gone through the papers, you might have looked into accuracy also. How much accuracy do they claim, and how it is taken care of? Is it addressed in case, how is the misrate addressed?
Okay. First of all, ma'am, all of these robots, they may cost a lot of money. So making of each of them takes utmost care and attention to detail. Lot of attention to detail has been given to each and everything while building them. In case there are any failures or errors happening, then there will be many test runs, and many failures also have happened in the past, where they have failed and there have been injuries, but that is during the testing phase. So a lot of testing has been done in each of the phases, and then itself it has been sent and it is manufactured. So in case there are any difficulties, first of all, the accuracy not only depends upon the robot, it also depends upon the EOD expert. That is the expert who is going to be handling them. It is up to him also to have utmost knowledge about how he's going to be how he's going to be handling the robot, and the robot has to be checked and it has to be regularly maintained. So I wasn't able to get a lot of information about how they are using it in our military, but I read one of the incidents where in Pune in 2020 it was used for a surveillance purpose. In a building, a terrorist group had been setting up a bomb, and so a small bot was being sent in order to get surveillance of the environment and what whole bombs were there. It also has the interrogation and it also has shotgun and all for emergency purposes. So those will not be a problem, but when it comes to the system performance, it mainly depends upon at what accuracy it's been given. The technologies and the components that are being used must be up to the mark. So yes, ma'am, that's my answer.
Have they mentioned in the papers you have referred? Like, is there any plan B in case of failure of this robot, or is this addressed in the papers you have referred?
Ma'am, in one of the papers, it was said that the first option for any such events would be for the soldier to look ahead. If it is not happening, and if it's a very dangerous situation, in case if it's a radioactive surroundings, then it would be the option to use this bomb diffusal robot. So in the papers that are referred, the first option would be for the person to go, that is the soldier, to look ahead. The second option would be the robot control unit.
Have you heard of Chernobyl radio disaster?
No, ma'am.
Okay, there is a movie made on it. You just go through that. There actually, it was a nuclear explosion wherein human could not enter to handle the disaster happen. So they are thought of all possibilities, and they've employed robots also, because the radioactive elements were so active that you couldn't even enter the vicinity. This happened somewhere in 1986, I guess. You just go through it. It
Yes,
is very
ma'am.
interesting if it is of your interest. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Surely I'll go
That's
through.
and that's from my side.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Anand sir and Deepu sir, any questions, sir?
Okay, Nakia, what are the challenges, major challenges in this area?
In the robotics area, sir, while making this
in the area of robot diffusing the bombs.
Robot diffusing the bombs. There are few challenges where, for example, I read a paper where I referred. In that, it was one of the older technologies where they used 3 mobiles for like the Android device where the person is going to be using. They made use of 3 mobiles, one to control the rover, one to control the arm, and one to control the other specifications. So they did this in order to overcome the challenge where one of the devices was gone out and it was not having any power, then the other 2 will be the backup. Like this was a major challenge while developing this back in a few years back. Then it also was a problem regarding the battery and the longer life and the power supply of the rovers. So that was a major thing which was being seen before, but now we have lithium ion technology and we have lot of options for the batteries. So we have overcome that and we are still advancing in many other ways. As I said, sir, we have the VR technology now. That is the recent, in 2018 it was discovered. So we are being advancing in each other field.
Like whether these robots are like they operate self or what? Or they're human controlled robots.
Sir, there are mainly 2 types.
Yeah.
There are mainly 2 types. One would be manual robot where he is able to detect, but that does not have longer, efficiency and precision. So it's not being used in the armies and the police and everything. So this particular, as I said, man handling the rover is the main option.
Like man handling the?
I'm so sorry. EOD expert. The EOD expert is going to be handling the robot. Like he's responsible for moving the arm controller.
Like what is the percentage of control? Means what is the percentage of intelligence that robot has?
Sir, intelligence is going to be a little bit of the robot and little bit of the human being. It's going to be a joint adventure for both of them. It's a joint mission. The robots can give an efficiency for metal detection and temperature, humidity, then the atmosphere surroundings and all of the detection on all of that. But it also has the X-rays, and also the temperature. What did they say? The temperature detection, metal detection. All of these would be mainly dependent upon. It would be mainly dependent upon the robot, but the method in which the wires are being cut and which wire has to be cut while diffusing the bombs that depends upon the human. That is the expert who is going to be disarming it.
Okay, diffusing the bomb is taken by experts only, and
Yes,
experts
sir.
will be controlling those robots.
Yes, sir. He is able to get a full-on experience now with the latest technologies. He is able to control everything. He even has the option to change different tools. The robot itself will be able to change it. I wish I had added the video of that, but I was not able to add a video. It is really nice that newer technologies are taking over. It's really awesome, sir.
The last question.
Yes, sir.
Only government authorities are like doing research on this, or even some private companies are working on it in India?
Sir, in India, mainly the Indian government, as I said, the DRDO, they are mainly working on these advanced machines because the cost is more. It will take about millions. One project would take about millions. The Daksh DRDO robot that I just mentioned is somewhere around $1 million, more than that. So it will not be taken up by like youngsters, or it cannot be taken up by anybody. There is supposed to be an organization for manufacturing and for inventing these. Maybe a few passionate organizations may be there and private companies, but in India, I don't think so. There are there. iRobot is, I think it's not a private organization. It is a private organization. iRobot for the PackBot. They are not government related. They differ, sir. But in India, as far as you know, it's only from the government, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions, or that's all, sir? Deepu, sir?
No. From my side, I don't have any questions. If anyone has questions, they can ask. Otherwise, we will wind up this session.